It's interesting because Scott Reisch was saying that somebody, he ran into this woman who confronted him saying that everything that, he said about Chris Watts being, guilty wasn't true, and that Chris Watts has been framed and that she doesn't want to have anything to do with anybody who thinks that Chris Watts is guilty. And Scott Reisch made me laugh when he said that he thought that the Chris Watts case was over and that he thought people had moved on. What planet is he on? He must be in his own Scott Reisch world. Because, sorry, I don't want to laugh too much. Because people are trying to drag this old, the Chris Watts case is literally in a coffin, sealed, but people are still trying to drag it out and say that he didn't do it when it's obvious that he did. And I just thought it was really funny that Scott Reisch thought that everyone was over it. Oh. People are entitled to their own opinions about every crime case. There are people that come to my channel that believe Chris Watts is innocent, or that they believe that Chris Watts is guilty, and but that Nicole Kessinger was involved, or they believe that he's innocent and he didn't do anything. Very few people believe that. Most people who come to my channel believe that he's guilty. And some of those people might think that Nicole Kessinger played a role, but most of them are not blaming everybody else. And, this idea that Chris Watts is taking the fall for everyone, that just, like I said, people are entitled to their opinion, but that just doesn't make any sense, because there was no incentive for anybody else to kill his entire family. And then when you look, I'm a body language person. My channel is about human behavior. When you look at his body language, his attitude, the lack of emotion, the affair, the secrecy, all of the lies that he told, and then being dumb enough. Literally dumb enough. This is the part that I find that absolutely convicts him completely, is the fact that he placed his family where he worked as a field coordinator. You have to be the dumbest person to do that. That is a really dumb, he literally, that was like, it's either his backyard or where he worked. And he was dumb enough, literally dumb enough, to bury those bodies where he worked as a field coordinator. That's what unequivocally proves his guilt for me. And actually, if you watch a lot of crime shows like I do, killers will often bury their victims in places that they're familiar with. And Chris Watts was familiar with the place he worked as a field coordinator. Have to just interject this part. The documentary Suburban Nightmare on Tubi, I call it Suburban Dad, but it's actually called Suburban Nightmare. I never ever once believed that Shanann would kill her children. And this is before I even saw videos of Shanann or even photographs of her. Never once believed that any mother is going to come home and kill her children just because of a divorce. That women rarely kill their children, but women like Shanann rarely kill their children. The Nutgate incident alone proves Shanann was a protective mama bear. The Nutgate incident alone shows that Shanann was the one who would defend her kids and step up for her kids, while her husband was a complete and utter coward and wouldn't stick up for them the way that she would. And I think it frustrated her that he did not stick up for those children. Never once believed that Shanann would do anything to harm her children. Was Shanann perfect? No. Do I think she was a perfect, flawless angel? No. But never once did I believe that Shanann would do anything to harm her children. So, in revisiting this case, I want to talk to you about two things. But the first thing I want to say is that I watched that documentary Suburban Dad on Chris Watts, and the problem I have with the documentary is that it repeats a lot of the things that we already know, but also it claims that Shanann and Chris were middle-aged people, that they were a middle-aged couple, and they weren't a middle-aged couple. Shanann was 34, Chris was 33. That's not middle-aged. And they also claim that they speak as if Nicole Kessinger was a much younger woman, almost like she was a 20-year-old that met Chris, who was in his 30s. Nicole Kessinger was 30. She wasn't a much younger woman. She was 4 years younger than Shanann, and she was only 3 years younger than Chris. So no, she wasn't a much younger woman, because the way they frame it is that Chris left his wife or cheated on his wife with this much younger woman, and she wasn't much younger. She was 4 years younger than Shanann and only 3 years younger than Chris. So when people can't even get the facts right in a documentary, that bothers me, and I kind of don't take the rest of the documentary seriously. They can't even get their facts right. Shanann and Chris were not a middle-aged couple. They were a young couple, fairly young, relatively young, but they weren't a middle-aged couple at all. And Nicole Kessinger was only a few years younger than Chris. It wasn't like she was a 19-year-old that met this 33-year-old guy. So from there, the documentary was just wrong. The one part of the documentary that I did like about it was the author of My Daddy is a Hero. She features on it. And she actually came on Scott Reisch's channel once. And I find her insight quite good. And I agree with a lot of things that she says. And she says that, narcissistic sociopaths, they don't actually have a genuine personality. So what they do is they mimic people. And they don't develop real attachments to people. So in reality, the reality is that Chris Watts was not really attached to his family. He had no genuine feelings for them. As soon as he met somebody else, it was game over. He chose the better option. So it wasn't very difficult for him to get rid of them. He had no real feeling or a real attachment to them. So it was easy for him to get rid of them. And what happened is just the ultimate discard. I mean, you can be discarded by being dumped, or you can do, what he did was the ultimate, it was the actual, it was the worst form of discard that you can possibly think of. And there was another psychiatrist, not on this program, but on another program that I'd watched quite a while ago, who said that, when he was in the interrogation room and he had the photograph of his family on the table, and he was saying how he misses his daughters at the dining table and how he misses them throwing chicken nuggets at him. He was just saying what he thought he was supposed to say to make him sound as if he was a good, loving and caring father. But because he had no feeling in what he was saying, he just sounded flat. So there was no emotion in his voice. It was just a flat affect. He was saying he missed his family, but he was displaying absolutely no emotion because he's a mimicker. He kind of mimics and mirrors people in kind of like a camouflage because he has no genuine emotion. So he has to actually mimic people who have emotion in order to try and pretend that he does. And I think that's true. I don't think that Chris Watts had genuine emotion for his family. And I think it was easy for him to discard them once he found the better option. I think being with Nicole, he wouldn't have the responsibility of taking care of kids. He wouldn't have the responsibility of spending money, playing the dad, being the attentive husband. I think that he played that role for a while. And then when he probably was happy to in the early days, but then when he met Nicole, and he didn't have to do that anymore, or he didn't have to pretend anymore, or he didn't want to pretend anymore. I think he thought, if I get rid of my family, I get this hot chick, and I no longer have to play the role of this loving, caring dad. That he got sick and tired of playing that role. And obviously there was financial problems in the marriage as well. And he probably thought if he got rid of them, then, a lot of his financial problems would be alleviated. So, you know, Nicole Kessinger was the better option for so many reasons. But a lot of people don't realize what a sociopath Chris Watts is, because they've taken the first version of him as the real version, as the loving father and caring husband. And they've taken that at face value, and they've taken that version of him as the real person. And I don't think that was a real person at all. And I think it made it worse that his family never accepted Shanann. So that was another incentive for him to get rid of them, because his family never accepted her. They never liked her. They never accepted her, and they wanted her out of the way. Now, when I say Nicole Kessinger was the better option, I'm not saying that I think that. I'm saying in his mind, Nicole Kessinger was the better option. I don't think Nicole Kessinger was the better option. I think that Shanann was a beautiful woman. And I think it was two things that he could have done. He could have decided to stay and work on the marriage, or he could have gotten divorced like everybody else. But obviously he chose not to do that. I would usually keep this conversation for the first part of a podcast, and I might actually do a part 2 to fully explain and go into more detail. But I just want to say that, you know, there are comments that I have kept on underneath my podcast that I don't necessarily agree with. There's a girl on my channel who I absolutely adore her, and her views are completely different to mine, but I love her no BS attitude. And she's not supportive of the Rusex at all. I am. I'm very supportive of the Rusex. They have all my empathy. That doesn't mean to say that I idealize them. It doesn't mean to say that I think they're perfect, but I do have great deal of compassion for the Rusex. And Frankie knows this. Frankie Jr. knows this. And both Frankie and his dad have been on my channel. And I'm sure they don't agree with everything that I say. But, you know, Frankie knows that I'm very, you know, compassionate about what he's been through. Doesn't mean to say that I think Frankie Jr. is perfect or that I idealize the Rusex. But there's this girl on my channel who I get along very well with. And she's not very supportive of the Rusex. She has compassion for them, but she just thinks they're full of it. And I allow her to make her comments on my channel, because I think that people who have opposing opinions to me should have a voice. I don't only leave comments up that I agree with, and that's something that I've been accused of by one person. But that's actually not the truth. If somebody is just going to be downright nasty, then I'll usually delete their comment, usually. But if somebody has, and actually I've kept some comments up that are quite nasty to me, but I've still kept them up so other people can see them and respond. But usually if somebody's being really nasty, I will usually delete their comment. But this particular woman that I'm talking about, she has compassion for the Rusex, but she doesn't believe there's going to be a court case. I don't believe there's going to be a court case either, just because I don't think that they'll be able to get that person into court. But she's been skeptical from day one. She doesn't believe there's going to be a court case. She doesn't like how the family have moved through channels, so to speak. She thinks she doesn't take anything that Frankie Jr. says as truth. She thinks that Frankie Jr. is having people on, which means duping them. But I get along very, very well with her. She comes to my channel, she makes comments, and she should be free to make her comments. I don't agree with everything that she says, and she doesn't agree with everything that I say, but we do get on. And there was another woman that came to my channel, that subscribed to my channel about 2 weeks ago, I think, maybe less ago. She has her own channel. I don't want to say what her name is, and I don't want to talk about who she is at the moment, because I don't know if she's going to be comfortable with that. But she has her own channel. She has a channel that's devoted to the Watts case. And she came to my channel the other day. She is very intelligent. She's very well spoken. She has been nothing but nice to me. A moderator of hers told her about my channel, and they've both been on my channel, and she's been very nice to me, blah, 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 blah. I think she, she was attracted to the videos that I did on Seeking the Truth with Dave. But anyway, she went on AD's channel. I hate to say that name, and I try to avoid it, but I fail miserably. She went on AD's channel not too long ago, and she was telling me, she's going to be on AD's channel, and she wasn't sure how I was going to feel about that. And I said, look, you are free to speak to whoever you like. You are free to consume whatever content you want. I never tell people not to listen to this person or that person. That's not why I'm here. I speak to people that I don't agree with. Like I said, Miss Mensa comes to my channel. We speak. And I don't agree with 99.9% of what she says. That doesn't mean that we can't have a healthy, mature, adult discussion. So, she told me that she was going on AD's channel, and she's been, like I said, she's been very complimentary to me and very nice to me. And I told her, you can speak to whoever you like. I'm not here to tell you who you can and cannot speak to, because that's just not how I am. So anyway, the only issue I had with her is that she claims that he hasn't been saying anything bad about the Ruzek family or Shanann, which it's obvious that he has been saying nasty things about Shanann. And, she wrote me this comment. I'm not going to read it, but what she was basically saying is that, she doesn't think that AD has been nasty to the Ruzek family or Shanann, which of course he has. And of course she must know that. But I also understand that she has a channel and it's about the Watts case. And, AD has a very large audience. And if you want to promote yourself, if you want to promote your channel, if you want to get yourself heard, grow your channel, going on AD's channel is probably a good thing. If that's what you want to do, if that's what that's what you want to do. I watched her on AD's channel. She came across a very nice, very nice. I'm not angry with her or have any animosity for her for going on AD's channel. I, however, do take issue with her saying that AD has been respectful to the Ruzek family. AD has shown the Ruzek family zero respect, and he's made very, very degrading comments about Shanann. That's not the main problem that I have with AD. My main problem I have with AD is his exploitation of the Watts case. This is just the icing on the cake in terms of what I don't like. But him saying nasty things about Shanann and him being nasty to the Ruzek family and bullying and gaslighting them is not my main issue with him. My main issue with him is that I think that he's exploiting a true crime case for his own gain, and that's what I take issue with. But I know I did respond to her when she said that she was going on AD's channel, and I did respond to her on her comment that AD has been very, very decent and hasn't been nasty to the Ruzeks. And I know that she can't honestly believe that, because it's obvious that AD has not been nice to the Ruzek family, and that he's also now starting to devalue Shanann, which is something that narcissists do. And this is for his own personal gain and to take a dig at the Ruzeks, because he knows how much they like to protect Shanann's reputation. But like I said, this woman, I respect her. She's not done anything nasty to me. She has not been nasty to me. And, I respect what her opinions are. I respect that we can't all have the same opinion on this topic. We're all going to have different opinions. What I don't like is exploitation of the Watts case. That's what I don't like. I don't mind that people have different opinions. We're all not going to have the same opinion. That's just life.